Hello and welcome to I Simply Believe. My guest today is a board-certified internal medicine physician who attended Brody School of Medicine at East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina. He graduated in 2005 with honors and did his residency at Greenville Hospital Systems in Greenville, South Carolina. Dr. Mitchell currently resides in the Charlotte area. He's married to his wife Sonia, and they have 3 children. Meet my guest, Dr. Kamari Mitchell. Hi, Dr. Mitchell.
Hello.
Welcome to I Simply Believe.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing great today. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. So, Dr. Mitchell, what got you into medicine?
When I was a kid, I just became interested in science. Well, I was always interested in science, and just got interested in medicine. I think my grandmother was very ill when I was younger. I was always interested in know, what made her ill and what's the science behind it. So really, when I was probably about 5 or 10 years old, I thought I'd always want to be a physician.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you've known pretty much since you're 5 or 6 years old.
Yes, and I've been pushing towards that ever since.
That's awesome. What was your background? Did you grow up in a affluent community, or how was it like growing up for you?
Oh no, I didn't grow up in an affluent community. I was probably considered poor by government standards, but no, I did not.
Okay, so you said poor, is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And so from there, you went through your primary schooling system. How was that? Were you the smart child? You always knew you wanted to do medicine. Mm-hmm. So I guess you worked hard towards it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, my mother focused on education with us. Made sure we, of course, did our homework and made sure that we just learned. So education was a huge focus in our family, as far as my sister and myself.
Okay, and being a smart kid in school, how was that like?
It was fun. Were
you picked on? The kids?
Yeah, probably here and there. I probably was picked on. Because when you're a smart kid, you are picked on sometimes, especially in the 80s. I grew up in the 1980s, so especially back then it was. If you were a smart kid, you really got.
It wasn't cool.
On. It wasn't cool.
Yeah.
It was cool to me. I didn't care.
How was medical school? What was it like for you?
It was challenging. It was, but it was basically the culmination of everything you've done all your life, because you do a lot of science in undergrad. In high school you do a lot of science, and of course especially in undergrad you do a lot of science. So it was basically a culmination of what you've been doing.
Were there many African Americans in your class?
Yes, our class, Brody has a mandate that about a quarter to a third of their students are minorities. So we had a class of 72 students, and there was about 15 to 18 that were African American.
That is amazing. That is awesome. Every year.
Every year their goal is that, because that's the third part of the mission, is to train the minority physicians for the state of North Carolina.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. So then from there, how was residency?
Residency was busy, as you probably have heard, and most people have heard, that residency is busy. That's a 3-year training for me in internal medicine. And it was a very, very busy process, but fun, because you're learning and you're finally practicing what you've been learning for the last 25 years.
Yeah. So then you finish residency and then you apply for your first job. How was that like?
Yes, my first job was in Gastonia. So I was in South Carolina. I wanted to move back to North Carolina, move back home. And decided to settle in the Charlotte area. I was looking in the Charlotte area and interviewed in Gastonia, North Carolina, at Caramount Healthcare System, or Regional Medical Center. And first job. Enjoyed it.
Did you have any experience with people coming in, and how did they receive you being an African American physician?
That's a good question. I think when I was practicing, it was fine. I think people, even today, when you first walk in, they may just kind of look, because you still don't see a lot of African American or minority physicians. Yeah. The numbers are rising, but you still don't.
So what do you think is a great way to introduce science to young people? Maybe a child somewhere that doesn't have the exposure of seeing many, African American physicians, how do we go about introducing them to the field of science, especially medicine?
I guess introducing them to science is letting them see the things they like to do, especially at a young age of 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, or even 10 years old. Things they like to do, like make a volcano. You can make a volcano, but you explain the science behind it.
Okay.
Of course, at their grade level at the time.
Okay.
But at least they can now see that, hey, wow, this volcano I just made, there's this science and math behind it as to why it is. And then medicine's, it's basically just sort of shadowing and seeing other physicians, because you don't really do a lot of medicine in high school, because you have to get the basic science knowledge first. But really just sort of encouraging them to sort of see different physicians. For me, I had a lot of friends whose parents were physicians.
Okay.
So I got some exposure then. And one of my friends, his dad was a transplant surgeon in Greenville. He invited me to come see a surgery. I was 15 or 16 at the time.
African American?
No, he wasn't African American,
Okay.
but he was a really nice Christian Caucasian physician.
Yeah.
He was a kidney transplant surgeon, and
That's
he set up
awesome.
for me to come in one Saturday morning and watch him do a transplant.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. So,
That is fantastic. Are there any programs geared towards young minorities who are interested in medicine?
yes, I think they are. I know there's several that you can usually find in high school. Of course, when I was coming up, there were like your junior, senior year, there was something called honors med at the high school. I'm sure they have programs like that where they expose children that are interested in medicine to medicine. And I'm sure, the Charlotte area has several. It's a matter of just kind of finding out which ones they have for that.
Okay, that's great. So, Dr. Kamari, what do you simply believe?
Well, I simply believe that if you have dreams and you have goals, you can achieve those dreams that you have. And no matter your age, when you decide to have those dreams, if you believe you can achieve them, I believe you can. And I think we need to instill that in our youth, knowing that they can achieve any dream that they want.
Dr. Mitchell, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here today. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Thank you for watching I Simply Believe. Our aim is to inspire you, to motivate you, and to encourage you to follow your dreams, whatever it is, and to let you know that it is possible. Brown skin, white skin, whatever skin it is possible. See you next time and have an amazing day.